Hello everybody and welcome back to Hearts of Iron, where you may notice things look a tiny bit different. And there is a reason for that, and that reason boils down to I'm a moron. I mean, that's the reason for a lot of things that happen on this channel. But in this case, I am indeed a moron, and I actually forgot to save after the last episode. So I had to play it back from the autosave, which in this case was on 1 September. So I played the last 17 days. I tried not to change anything, but sometimes roles are different. Things just happen differently in Hearts of Iron. And there's not much you can do about that. So let's go over the differences that I know about. There are probably a few more differences, but that I know about, this is roughly the same. So that should all be just fine in theory. We can see that the US is actually reinforcing over here, and there's a fair number of English units over here too. Okay, well, that's definitely exciting. We will work on that as soon as we can. It looks like Mexico is still on their own over here, and we have units on their way over to deal with that in theory. So this is all largely the same over here. We do have an unassigned division, a Korean infantry division. We're just going to assign that to this unit here. So that's these guys. Okay. That should be fine. And as far as other differences go, there are some distinct differences up in Sweden. Up in Sweden, we did apparently a much better job this time of taking all of this over, except for the port, which we're currently working on. So that will fall, and I mean, it was going to fall in the other one anyway, so that's fine. And we have attacked up over here, and we're on our way in. This just took a little bit longer this time. So that is fine. And the question is, how much longer can we keep this push with our manpower situation being what it is? That is indeed the question. Well, what we really need is to get our hands on some additional monthly growth. That's our current major weakness. But we should have this freed up momentarily. So this army is... Let's see, this unit is walking in. Yes. Okay, so there's Narvik under control. So these guys have been assigned already into the European Coast Guard. So they're just going to spread out and do that. Apparently there's a naval invasion being attempted, but that's not going to succeed for now. And we have stalled out a little bit on this front. Hopefully that picks back up soon. I do want to make sure... Are you attacking aggressively? You are. Let's back you off to attacking not as aggressively. We don't want to burn the manpower. Where did this manpower come from? This 6K. We were just at 0. We did not have a month tick. There are small amounts of manpower that trickle in periodically, so maybe it's that? But I don't think I've ever seen a trickle in of that level. Regardless, that'll disappear into the armies. It's gone. The armies are in need of a lot of manpower. And as far as this push over here goes, I'm starting to have less confidence in this. And by starting, I mean I am having less confidence in that. This isn't going tremendously well over here, but I do expect it to go well once these troops all arrive at this front. I think that we'll be able to push the Mexican troops out of here. But this is spooky. I didn't realize there were this many troops, and I'm willing to bet there weren't before, and that the replay brought additional troops in here. I think that's what's going on there. We'll keep an eye on that, and hopefully that will be fine. So cleaning up Sweden here means we have a lot more troops to throw at this border. And in fact, it looks like we've made a few gains here, but these guys are lacking organization to advance. Now, we have cleaned up a lot of our supply issues over here, and just pushing forward has helped that a lot. This over here, these guys absolutely need to be pushed over to this line. So they're going to front line here. These will get repurposed into the European Coast Guard once they arrive. And we are simply going to offensive line, I think, right there is going to be this offensive line. So they can go ahead and get started on that. And I do want to check infrastructure up here. There's probably some amounts of infrastructure that needs to be constructed over here. There are a few chunks of infrastructure that need to be built, but not really very much. We have made some gains over here, though. And I haven't built infrastructure over here. So let's get that queued up. Fantastic. Yeah, we're definitely having small amounts of manpower coming in. I'm concerned about our fuel. I'm definitely concerned about our fuel. We have 199 factories devoted to consumer goods right now. Is that because of our war support? No. Interesting. Why is our consumer goods factories so high? 22%. Right. So 25% from partial mobilization. Oh, we have 237 damaged civilian factories. Yeah, that'll do the trick. We should probably go through this and find damaged civilian factories and repair those as top priority. Things like this. That we personally own. Not that are within our... Not that are within our subject nations is the term I'm looking for. So any of these civilian factories that are repaired. Or unrepaired, rather. And beyond that, I think we're okay with leaving this as is. These will automatically repair over time, but I want these civilian factories back as quick as possible. We've kind of lost critical mass on our construction speed, and I want to return that. So this is going to be a bit of a tedious process, I suppose. Yeah, here's another one. I wish that we could sort this and just pull, like, all civilian factory repairs up to the top. That would be amazing. But unfortunately, as far as I know, there's no such way to do that. We should also queue up construction of new civilian factories, because I do want to get these constructions done as quickly as we can. I'm not too concerned about the infrastructure right now, although I will be concerned about that. Although I think that's something that we can let automatically repair, at least for a while. Here's 5 more. Here's another 6 civilian factories that are in need of repair. Another 3. Yeah, there's definitely a good number of them in here. Here's another one. Fantastic. And 8 more. Yeah, we just need to get these done, because we're not building as quickly as I want to be. So let's get that done. It's a lot of repair work that needs to be done, but we're not surprised by this. Keep in mind also that we have concentrated industry, and we're probably getting bombed pretty heavily right now. So there's probably a reason that these are as damaged as they are. I'm willing to bet. Here's another 9. Okay. Here's another 17. Wow. That's a lot of civilian factories. Here's another 17. Okay. Here's another 5 and another 12. Another 10 in Cuba. Yeah, that's probably going to be pretty bombed. But if we can get some of these repaired, then that would be huge. Another 9 and another 6. Another 6. Some of these will be behind the lines and are, I think, kind of unlikely to be bombed, but it seems like the Allies have quite a bit of bombing going on. Another 18 from Brandenburg, 12 from Bohemia, 11 in Lower Austria, and at this point, now we're not expecting to find any more up here. Okay. We also want to get these constructions done anywhere where we can. Kind of like this. I'm not going to build over here. Oh, I did want to say that these guys capitulated this time. That hadn't happened previously, and we just withdrew from this area. So we're just going to withdraw from this area. These two are likely going to die unless we remove this. I'm going to leave it, though. I left it previously, and that's fine. So yeah, we withdrew from this area with our troops, and we're just giving this up and moving the line back up here. That's fine. Okay, so how successful can we be with this push? Oh, I wanted to deal with this fuel as well. So we can see here we're consuming 34.4 per day right now with a maximum of 105.8. Once we get more of this online, and yeah, our civilian factories are really getting wrecked right now. They're getting hammered hard. So getting these online is going to be very important. And we don't need to prioritize that. There. Something like this would be maybe a little bit better. Of course, we should also think about our air defenses. It's not great, is it? It's not great at all. Let's have these guys head out over here. And these are heavy fighters. So something more like that. They can defend this area a little bit better. I do think that we need to think about our air defenses over here. These are bombers. Okay. They're heading out over here. So we need to think about what we want to do for air defenses in each of these locations. Now, we do have anti-air built basically everywhere, although we don't have any over here. There's some that's in locations that we didn't control that we don't have. Looks like there's just no contest down over here. They're attempting to bomb pretty heavily over in Europe. Also in Brazil. Okay. I want to do a couple of things. I want to go into this airbase here. And I want to add in... Let's see here. This is some crappy close air support. We don't really have much for close air support. I'm just going to go for, not rocket interceptors, but rather some fighter 3s. Do we have a good number of any of those? Not really. But I suppose we could make this work. We could do like 82 of these. Not enough service manpower to create it. Right. I was hoping that I'd be able to create it and then have it go in later as reinforcement. But apparently that's not a thing. We'll have to wait until the 1st to do that then. Do we really need the air support over here? Yes, I think we do. I think we absolutely do. There's a lot of units over here. We are lacking organization over here. And again, I think that all boils down to we've got a manpower problem. And a relatively bad manpower problem at that. That said, we are making gains up against Russia. Mostly because they simply don't have the troops on the border. These guys are making their way over, and that's nice. We'll get there eventually. Making gains over here is good. My main concern is here. They've got American troops. They've got quite a number of troops, in fact. We do have some level of naval supremacy over here, but it's really not much. These guys are currently repairing. And I'm going to tell them to raid convoys here in the Caribbean. And they can go ahead and automatic split off, and let's go ahead and have them on medium repair. Okay. So hopefully that will intercept some of the troops that they're trying to land over here. And I'd like to cut off their supplies over here too. I mean, our naval supremacy here is going to be grim, I think. These guys are operating in Cape of Africa. I honestly don't think that's very important right now. Let's tell them to come up here and not be in Cape of Africa. Caribbean Sea is, I think, more important. Okay. So we have been getting some pushes over here. There's nukes going off. We're not surprised by this. This is the month tick. So, before all of our manpower disappears, I want to get us an air wing of just some close air support 3s. And how many of these do we want? Well, how many can we get in here? I'm just going to do 200. And I'm going to assign those guys to this army here. So we're going to assign in an air wing to these guys in close air support. Okay. There we go. And then that'll be fine for now. That'll at least give us some level of air support. Now, how are we doing over here? I want these guys, I think. Yes. We are pushing back the Mexican forces. In fact, there's not that many Mexican forces here. I want these guys to aggressively attack. Get in there. You can see our manpower immediately vanished. That's not surprising in the slightest. These guys are lacking in organization, and what are they set to? Balanced attack. Okay. Well, that's fine, but our manpower is not. Oh, we're lacking for garrisons? Towed anti-air. We're lacking for towed anti-air. Okay. So we should probably make sure... I mean, we do have more factories working on the advanced anti-air. I'm going to just continue to do that. We're short on support equipment as well, it looks like. We'll bump that up. We're short on jet tactical bombers and jet fighters, but we'll leave... Actually, I am going to bump that up just by 5 factories. Now, these factories we don't have to throw at this, but we may get them. I'm going to throw another 10 factories at each of those, and another 10 factories at our modern tanks. Okay. So you can see here we are starting to run into supply shortages. I'm not surprised by this. Those supply shortages should be slightly alleviated as we start to work on our compliance over here. That said, we need to continue working on our resistance. Let's work over here for now. And I still want to be working over in this region. There. Okay. So we're going to work our way punching through over here, hopefully. And our units are going to start arriving over here. And Russia is losing territory over here. Are there any resources up here? Yes, actually, there's a good amount of steel over here. That's solid. But we desperately need to deal with our air defense situation. There's no doubt about that. Absolutely no doubt about that. These guys are close air supporting in the Amazon. I'll be honest, that doesn't sound super useful to me. We're going to do this instead. They're going to head on over here, and they're going to close air support there. Okay. But we definitely need some air defense set up. There's no doubt about it. We're going to run out of oil quite soon. The problem here is that we're running low on factories. And the reason we're running low on factories is because we're taking a pounding from bombers. And the reason that we're taking a pounding from bombers is because we don't have solid air defenses. And the reason that we don't have solid air defenses right now is because of our manpower crisis. So it all loops back to the manpower. That's what it comes back to. Time and again. Yep. Okay. Well, the question becomes, how much manpower do the Allies really have? The Russian Federation actually doesn't have much more than we have. Okay. Good to know. The US How much have they burned through? Actually, a lot. They've got 200k. Interesting. They have burned an awful lot of manpower. A bunch of units must have gotten sunk trying to cross the Atlantic here. Or something. Okay. Don't necessarily care for this bulge here, but... we're doing okay-ish. So the core issue comes back to manpower, right? And what can we do about that? Well, we need to raise our manpower. How can we do that? We need to jump down to all adult serve. How can we do that? We need more than 70% war support or more than 0% surrender progress. So we need to be proper losing territory for that to happen. Or we need to bring up our war support. Okay. Now, we've already run our war propaganda, it looks like. So it looks like we're just bugged here. And we should be able to run a war propaganda against the US. So, decisions.nochecks. Singular. Not decisions. Decision.nochecks. There we go. We subtract our 75 political power. And we run our war propaganda against the US. And then we turn decisions.nochecks back on. Okay. There we go. Fantastic. What else can we do? Apparently we can dismantle the Maginot Line as an economic policy. Okay. Yeah, we're not going to do that. It's not a great idea right now. Although one thing I would like to think about doing, and this might be something I'll do off camera, is go through here and remove all of the land forts. They're not useful right now in their current setup. Coastal forts are. Land forts, not so much. We're certainly not going to prioritize building them. That's for sure. We're making good gains up against the Russians. They must have moved troops off of this front, and of course we're moving troops to this front. So that's fine. We are very short on manpower, though. And that is our Achilles heel right now. For a temporary bump in manpower, we could attempt to annex some nations. We're going to need more political power to make that happen. What else can we do for manpower? Let's see. We're on industrial. This doesn't matter. Military theorist, air warfare theorist. It doesn't matter. We need 50% war support to jump to war economy. So here's the thing. I think we have but one choice here. And that is, on month ticks, we set up air wings in defense. Just defensive air wings. We should come up with a standard air wing for that. Now, it's going to be, like, within its own state, right? So we don't need them to be jet fighters, so that will cut the manpower requirement. So let's take a quick look here at what we can do in terms of our aircraft for specifically maintaining air superiority and interception defensively over our own territories. What kind of planes would be ideal for that? Fighter 3s? Perhaps. If we were to create a variant of this, it would not need range. We could just simply bump up weapons and engine, and we can't go all the way here, and then bump our reliability back up to max. So bring this down to like something probably along the lines of this. Okay, so air attacks is damage against airplanes. High air attack also helps to counter enemy air superiority effects. The max speed, that's fine. And the agility affects how easy it is to hit another plane and how easily it can avoid being hit. Okay, what are we currently making? We're making heavy fighter 3s. And what exactly is the stat differentiation between a fighter 3? I did not intend to actually start up that line. What exactly is the stat differentiation between a fighter 3 and a heavy fighter 3 in this role? So we can see... Didn't want to do that necessarily. Heavy fighter 3s. Okay, so... We don't actually... here we go. Air defense is 18, air attack is 54, compared to air defense of 14 and air attack of 32. So the heavy fighter 3 in those two stats is just better. It requires twice as much manpower. Its agility is 33 compared to the fighter 3's 88. So the fighter 3 is way better on the agility. Air superiority of 1 compared to air superiority of 1.25. I don't think that air superiority boost is worth the service manpower increase. We don't, in this situation, care about naval attack or targeting, naval targeting. Fuel usage of 0.2 compared to fuel usage of 0.2. Production cost of 28 compared to production cost of 32. I think we should run fighter 3s. Specifically, fighter 3s with improved weapons, engines, and slightly bumped up reliability, like that. Fighter 3 Mark 1s. Okay. So that's what we're going to do. And we need these defensively. Okay. So before I forget, I'm going to go ahead and make a save here. You'll see that there is a save there, but that was made after I played it back. And that's exciting stuff. So we'll go ahead and make that save so that I definitely don't forget. It is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we are going to see about getting some of those defensive air wings set up. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and I will see you all next time.